Welcome out to the show tonight, guys. This is Studio 321. This is your podcast host, Eddie B. So fentanyl, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. That and Trump with the cartels down in Mexico. Number one, why is he so hyped up on stopping them? Why is fentanyl such a big deal? But anyways, guys, but first, please hit the like and subscribe button on my site. It really helps my channel, helps spread the word. I'm always telling you, like-minded people got to spread the word, man. We got to stick together. So anyways, I was talking yesterday to a lady online, and she was asking me, some stuff about fentanyl and basically just asking questions about it and, why was such a powerful drug ever invented in the first place. And I thought, that would probably make a pretty cool show. And then it kind of ties into what's going on down in Mexico right now with Trump and the cartels. So we're gonna wrap it all together. So let's get started. So anyways, fentanyl was invented in 1959, okay? It really got put to use in like 60, 62, but it was used for severe pain after surgeries, sometimes severe pain before surgeries, depending on the situation. They use it for basically very severe situations, okay? It's not a regular drug. It's super, super strong. It's actually, they say it's 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine, which that's insane to me because I've taken morphine for kidney stones before, and that stuff is insane. But so 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine. They actually have to measure it in micrograms. It's so powerful. Okay. But yeah, so they use it in a lot of combat injuries. I know in the field, if somebody is severely injured, like over in Afghanistan and Iraq, I know people who personally have administered it and had conversations with them about that. And they call it the fentanyl lollipop, which what they would do is say you were in the field in combat and you got your foot blown off from an IED. They would take what they call the lollipop and they would stick it to the inside of your mouth on your cheek and basically tape it to your mouth, and within 5 minutes, you're off in la la land. Like you can't even feel the pain, and it's definitely a great drug. It's a kind of a mercy drug in a lot of situations, but obviously it can be very dangerous and harmful used the wrong way. So what's happening nowadays? I think most people know this. Fentanyl's been killing about 200,000 people a year in America. Okay, it mostly comes across the Mexican border, some over the Canadian border, but mostly through Mexico. Because look, the illegal drug dealers, they're going to ship it through the path of least resistance, right? They're gonna send it where it can come across the easiest. So it's been coming across the Mexican border in full force for, we'll say, the last 5 years, killing about 200,000 Americans a year. Now, if you think about that in context, right, 200,000 a year. Okay, we only lost 50,000 in Vietnam. We lost 400,000 in World War II. And so World War II for us was about, we'll say, 5 years, right? So fentanyl is killing more people in the United States per year than World War II. And think about that. We've been talking about that war for forever. You know what I mean? So just, it's a major problem is what I'm trying to get at. It's causing mayhem, and the people that it's not killing, it's destroying their lives. It's super addictive. And look, I can understand that. I've never done anything like that, but I have taken morphine for my kidney stones, and let me tell you, man, when you're in that kind of pain, morphine it's like a ray of sunshine coming in, man. It's insane. It's great, but again, it has its uses, and it has its destructive uses as well. So Trump's been under a lot of pressure. He's been talking about it for years, talking about the amount of deaths, but the amount of deaths keep going up in the United States. And I think even before he got elected this time, that was one of his major bucket list items, was to stop the fentanyl coming over the border. Now, Fentanyl's not made in, well, it's assembled in Mexico. Okay, the ingredients come directly from China, and what they do, and again, this is part of just dirty China, and I've talked about this in previous podcasts. They ship all the ingredients over to Mexico, knowing what's going to happen. The Mexican cartels, they get a hold of the ingredients, they put it together, they in the labs, they make fentanyl, and then they ship it over the border, and then our people buy it and they start dying. Well, when did fentanyl hit the open drug, we'll call it the recreational drug market? Well, it really hit it hard in the last probably 10 years. It's just like it's just like that. They always talk about the stepping stone. People were doing cocaine, then they moved to heroin. Then heroin's working, but it's not doing everything they wanted to. Then they're looking around for something else, and here comes fentanyl. And fentanyl's the end of the line, man. You can't go any stronger than that. It's so dangerous, and it's killing a lot of people. I actually personally know several people who have died from it, and these were not what we would call a junkie. These were just recreational drug users that did a little bit of cocaine every now and then, and thought they were buying a little bag of cocaine, and because the way that works is if you're buying a bag of cocaine, let's say, you might buy a gram, right? And that's what people would consider what they call a bump. So if you're out at a club somewhere, you might buy you a little bump baggie, and you go in the bathroom and you do that, and you're feeling great for a couple hours. Well, that's 1 gram. 1 gram of fentanyl, which looks exactly like cocaine, same white powder, everything. 1 gram of fentanyl and you're dead. Like that, 1 gram of fentanyl can kill multiple people. Okay, and so that's what's been happening. People making mistakes. And I don't even know half the time if the drug dealers even know it's fentanyl. They're buying it and they're reselling it, and people are dying on it. And so it's a major problem, and I think there is a lot of pressure on the presidency right now to end this problem. Well, how do you do it if the Chinese are pushing it to our border? Because their plan is to poison our people, and then, on a little side note, this kind of makes me sick because I see all these people on the news and in the media always, they're not directly doing it, but they're kind of siding with China on all this trade war stuff. People don't understand how dirty that country is towards us. They undercut us on every level, okay? Every level. Trade, they steal our intellectual property, which means they just basically copy our products, everything we invent over here, because we have the best inventors in the world over here. We do. We invent awesome stuff all the time. They steal the technology and sell it back into our country way cheaper and puts the original inventors out of business. They also, they send these chemicals to Mexico to get turned into fentanyl to pump into our country, which disrupts our culture. So think about the attack they're doing. It's like a 3-pronged attack. They attack our economy, okay? They attack us on social media, all the stuff on TikTok and all that stuff. And then they attack us sending drugs into our country to kill our culture off. And it's a constant attack, And then you see these people on the media and TV basically defending China like we're being bullies. We're being attacked is what we are, okay? We have to understand that, and we have to take it like it is. It's an attack. So anyways, without the drug cartels in Mexico, the fentanyl thing wouldn't be happening. They've got the people, they've got the coyotes who they do the human trafficking across the border, and they ship fentanyl along with them, and that's how it's all coming into the country. And yes, we have our problems with meth and our problems with cocaine, but fentanyl is the zinger, man. It's terrible. And I'll tell you something kind of funny. Since I work in the club business, and I've always been, when you work in the club business, the drug culture, right? What's new, what's out there, what people are doing at that time. Like over the 30 years that I've been in the club business, I've seen the different drug fads, we'll call it. Back in the old days, it was all cocaine, and then it went to like the club drugs with ecstasy and the roofies and all that stuff. There was problems with that. And then it switched over to like the weird prescription drugs, and people were doing ketamine and all this crazy stuff. And then it went to the opioids, which was absolutely terrible. That was the worst of it all. You know what I mean? Oxycodones, and everybody's getting prescriptions for tons of that stuff. But then fentanyl is in right now. Now, I would say the opioid time, the oxycodones and all that stuff. I would say that was the biggest mess, okay, in the club scene. But as far as just straight danger, there's nothing compared to fentanyl, right? Just terrible. So, that's been kind of the 30-year, like, I guess you would say, evolution of drug use in the club business. Okay. So, but that's a little side note. So going back to Mexico. So, they're pushing the drugs across the border, and it's the cartels. They are the reason. Without them, putting the ingredients together in Mexico, we wouldn't have to deal with this problem the way that we do. So Trump's going to go down there and take out the root of the problem. But how do you take out the root of the problem if the whole country is full of that problem? You see, because cartels basically run Mexico. They always have. Everybody knows that. Okay. I said in a previous podcast, they control about 27% of the actual land down there. I mean, that's a lot if you think about it, right? And they're in government, they're in cities, they're in the police force. Like, you can't, if you're having a problem with the cartel down there, you don't have anywhere to run to, because the truth is you don't know who to run to and who to run away from. You don't, because, that can get you killed. So you really have nowhere to go. So you just got to keep your mouth shut down there. And that's how you get by. It's not like here where you can just run to somebody and they'll have your back. It's not like that down there. So anyways, the whole country is rife with problems with the cartels, and Trump's going to go down there and handle it. Now, the new president, again, I talked about this already. She's not powerful enough to stop them, so she's going to have to back out of this situation and just act like she's not involved or she doesn't support it. And our military is going to have to go down there and drone bomb these guys back into the caveman days, right? And that's what's coming. I would bet my house on it. And if that's what we need to do to get him to stop, then that's what needs to happen. Okay. Now, if Trump gets that done, he's going to be a hero. He will, because first of all, you won't even be able to get fentanyl in the United States, without paying so much money for it that the junkies won't be able to afford it anymore. It just won't. You know what I'm saying? If you make it so scarce that you drive the price way up, it's so hard to get over the border, you drive the price way up, then it kind of loses all, it drops off interest because nobody can afford it. And, the junkies will go back to doing heroin or doing cocaine. And the truth is, that doesn't sound much better, but it actually is, because at least they won't be dropping dead like flies, man, because, it's killing a lot of people. So the question might be asked, can Trump actually go down there and stop all this fentanyl from coming over the border? Well, and the answer is yes. Do we have the capability to do it? Yes, we do. But will we do that? No, we won't. And let me explain that to you. You've got about 7 to 8 cartels in Mexico who are, you have the super big ones, and then you got some smaller ones, and they kind of all have their own territory. And what I predict is going to happen, he's going to pick one or maybe two, and he's going to go down there and he's going to tear them up. I mean, he's going to tear them apart, maybe completely destroy them. And then he's going to look at the rest of them. Or actually, the way he'll do it is he'll send some people down there, the kind of guys in the unmarked cars, those type of guys. And they're going to go down there and they're going to meet with the cartel leaders. And because, look, Everybody knows who everybody is. There's no mystery to who's running what down there. The American government knows them by name. They know who's, it's all a neighborhood thing, if you understand what I'm saying. So they're going to send the guys down there. They're going to have meetings with the cartel leaders, and they're going to basically say, look what we did to your, these other groups down here. Either you control this, or we're going to do that to you. We don't want this much coming across the border anymore. You can play your little games and do your human trafficking, because the truth is this: if it was just human trafficking, they wouldn't even be interested in the cartel stuff right now. They wouldn't. Trump wouldn't be talking about it, wouldn't be worried about it. Human trafficking, it's like a cat and mouse game, right? They bring them across the border, we arrest some people, we send them back, blah, blah. It goes on forever. It's almost like it's good for business. It's the uproar over the fentanyl deaths. He wants that to stop. So that's what they're gonna tell them. You better stop doing this, or we're gonna destroy your groups one at a time. And look, they're all about self-preservation down there. They're not stupid. You know what I mean? Yeah, they could fight back and start wars with us, but at the end of it all, what ends up happening is they'll get eliminated. It's like, it's just like the Taliban and all those type of guys. There's no difference, okay? If we want them gone, we're going to end up getting rid of them, and they know that. So the best thing they can do is make a deal with Trump, stop the fentanyl. It'll stop the people from dying. It'll take the heat off of them. They can go back to their dirty business down in Mexico, and we can come back to worrying about what's inside our borders rather than trying to stop that flow constantly. Because as it is right now, it's been sort of unstoppable. But, with Joe Biden in office and all the weakness we've had in the past, nobody's really paid much attention to it. And the truth is, when Trump had his first term, I think he was a little new to the problem, and by the time he really figured out how bad it was, his term was over. So now he knows what exactly needs to be done. He knows the players in the game, and he's going to knock it out. And I'm going to assume, if I had to put a time frame on it, I'm going to say within a year from now, you're probably not going to be able to get fentanyl in the United States. You might be able to find it, but like I said, it's going to be so expensive, and it wouldn't be worth it. And again, think about it, right? The junkies, they're looking for the cheap high. That was like the crack for cocaine, right? It's the cheap high. They're looking for the cheap stuff. And the thing about fentanyl was you could get such a small amount and get just as high because it's so powerful. But that price of all that's going to go through the roof once you start stomping on them down there, and then it just won't be worth it anymore for the party crowd or whatever you want to call them, the junkies or whatever. It's just not going to be worth it for them to pay that for it anymore. But anyways, guys, I hope you liked my video. Please like and subscribe. This is Eddie from Studio 321. I'll talk to you later. Good night.